Alright, hey guys, Mr. Welsh here. Doing our third tutorial today, which is called the Staying Alive game. Really fun game, a bit like the one we did on the 10 room game. This time we're only going to have one room, and every 3 seconds we're going to add an enemy. And our job is to dodge the enemies for as long as we can until we eventually get caught. Now, we get a point for every second you stay in the game. So a really simple game, but a really fun game to do as well. So let's go and start it up. So we'll open up Game Maker and continue using the light edition. So we're going to need a few basic things for our game. We're going to need some sprites. So let's go through. First thing that we'll find is our player. So I'm going to find the character that I'm going to control. If I can find a good one. Let's use the smile. Alright. So let's call this SPR underscore player. Same again, let's do another sprite. And this time we're going to do the bad guy. Now, right next to the smile was a skull. So that's what I'm going to use as my bad guy. SPR underscore bad guy is the skull. A couple other things that we need. Only one more thing that we need, which is a wall. So if we find a wall, that one here, or if you want the cracked one, you can do that. Let's use that. SPR underscore wall. Now, as well, if you might have got the tutorial sprites, all the apple and the fruit and all that kind of thing. What you need to do is go up, so just up one level. So you'll probably be in that file there. So just go up one level and you can go into the maze platform or any other ones you can use. The only thing I would suggest is make sure that it is size 32 by 32, and you can see it over here. So I'll get out of that. Okay, so our three sprites is the player, the bad guy, and the wall. We now need to make 3 objects, so blue ball here, and we choose them one by one. So obj underscore player, another blue ball, obj underscore bad guy, last one, obj underscore wall. Now it's important with the wall, anytime you're making a wall, you have to click solid. Now I'm sure you guys have done that already, but there you go, solid there. And let's start by making a room. So create a room, expand it out. Now, first thing to do, 32 by 32. That means that everything's going to fit perfectly. So let's put the wall around the outside. I'm just going to do the cheat way by holding shift and dragging the mouse around. Remember, if you make a mistake, you right click. Now, to start off with, we're just going to have our player and we're going to have our bad guy. And that's it. That's everything that we need in our room. Now we're going to click to save it. And we're going to make sure we save the game. So save as. Now you'll save it in your student drive, which is in this PC. And you should see your student drive here. I'm going to save it on my desktop. So this is called Staying Alive. Staying Alive game. Alright, let's do a little bit of programming now. Let's get this player moving. So we're going to move with the 4 keys, left, right, up and down. Now, hopefully you remember from the last tutorial how we do that. It's keyboard and left. Then we're going to move the red arrows in, and it's move left at a speed of, let's say, 5. So remember, all of these times, all these different events, we're going to drag the red arrows in, and we just need to make sure we've got it moving the correct way, set at the same speed. So we got left, right, up, and last one is down. Now there's one more that you need to do. If you remember, it is no key. So keyboard, no key. When we're not pressing a key, we just want to stop. Excellent. So what we're going to do is save the changes. Going to click play and make sure that this game we can move around. It's important to do little steps at a time. Make sure it works and then move on. Because if you do 3 or 4 different steps all at the same time, you don't know which one might be making a mistake. So everything's working there. What about collision? Oh, I remember what we need to do. Get out of that. Let's do the collision with the wall. So open up the player again. Add event, collision with the wall. And if we collide with the wall, we'll just bounce. Alright, let's see how that goes. I'll play that. But that should fix all of our different issues. Here we go. Yep, cool. Moving around. Cool. Excellent. Alright. Player movement. Tick. Save the game. Now, let's go into the bad guy. Double click. So we're going to want some events. We want it to bounce around this room whenever it starts. So add event, create, and we're going to get it moving around 4 different diagonals, and I'll set the speed being 6. That way it's a little bit quicker. Another event that we need is collision with the wall, and when the bad guy collides with the wall, we want it to bounce. So that way it stays in our game. Let's check those 2 things. Because if we can get that right, then the player and the bad guy are moving correctly. Then we can get into how we win and how we lose. Cool. He's moving around. Excellent. Alright. Let me get out of that. So that's working. I'll save the game. Let's do our next thing. So it's moving around. Let's actually get us losing the game. So we'll go add event, collision with the player. So when the bad guy collides with the player, what we want to do is we'll show the high score. Now I'm going to change the color again to being a nice violet kind of color. I'll make the font being bold. Excuse me. Sorry if I've ruptured anyone's earballs. There we go, Latin. And we'll make it a little bit bigger as well. Size 14. Alright. So it shows the high score table. Then main number 2 is restart the game. Let's see how that works. Now I hope this is all stuff that we've done before in the last tutorial, so hopefully you're remembering a few of this stuff. What I want you to be thinking about now is how we're going to add score for every second and how we're going to add new bad guys. So let me see if it works. Yep. High score there. Okay. Restarts the game. Excellent. So, save the game because everything's working well. What we'll do is we'll add our score now, okay? Now, let's go into the player, and there are a couple of things we want to do. So, when we want to do time-related events, that's where we need to set an alarm. So, let's go add event and create. And when the game is started, we need to set an alarm at the very start. Okay, so we're going to go to main 2, bring in the timing there, and we're going to set 30 steps in alarm 0. Now, we've got alarm 0, we can't use it again, so when we do the other one, we'll use alarm 1. So 30 steps is 1 second, then add event, let's go to alarm and alarm 0. We'll set our score, so the score tab here, let's drag in set score, 1 point and relative. And the next thing we need to do is to go back and set the alarm again for 30 steps. Now we have to do this because in our last video, in the 10 room game, in the tutorial game, with the bomb, whenever we had the alarm set here. So whenever a bomb is created, the alarm goes again, makes a new one. But because the character only gets created once, which is at the very start, we have to set the alarm 0 again. So every time it goes off, we'll set it to 30 seconds, and then it plays again. If we get the score, set the alarm again, so on and so forth. So let's see how that works. We should be able to see that we add 1 point for every second in the game. So we can see our score adding up over there. And let me just crash into my bad guy so that way we can see that it ends score on 14. Cool. And then we restart again. So that scoring section of the player is quite easy. What we need to do now is go to our bad guy and set up multiple bad guys. So like what we did in the first tutorial, we're going to set the alarm in the create section. So main, an alarm. Now let's be generous. Let's give us, let's do 75 seconds. So every 2.5, that's a bit of it. Let's do 60 seconds. No, 60 steps. So every 2 seconds, let's make a new enemy. And same thing, we'll use alarm 1. So every 2 seconds, we want to make a new enemy. So add event, alarm 1. Now how we do that is go to main 1 and create instance here. Create instance of the bad guy. We're just going to go OK. Then to make sure that we do it, what we'll do is we'll jump it to a random position. And then when that new enemy gets created, we set the alarm 1 to 60 steps or 2 seconds again, and it'll make another one. Now, this should be the crux of our game. Let's see how it works. As you can see, it's very simple, very easy, but like with the olden day games like Pac-Man, they're hard to master and they are addictive. I think a lot of you will enjoy playing this game. So, that's moving around. Cool. Can see it getting harder and harder. Excellent. Now I've made this game a few times. I know a few strategies to use, and this is just one of mine. But there it is. 29 seconds. So it gets very hard. Now, what we could do, let me get out of this. There's a little bit of a flicker at the start. I don't know why that is. Let's go to the bad guy. Start moving, set alarm 1 to 60, create instance, and jump to a random position. So it should be working. Alright, maybe let's do a few other things. So let me add a sound. So we'll go to the sound, load sound, and let's do the explosion. So for that way, when we sound SND underscore explosion. So that way when we get hit, we'll do the explosion. So when it collides with the player, main 1 is do the sound and the explosion, and we don't want to loop it. Let's see how that works. Now these, you can stop listening now, you've made the game, but these are some things that we should be doing to kind of fine tune the game. You know, we've got it working, but let's actually add a little bit of time and effort into it to make, you know, make it the best game that we can. Cool. So there's that. You could add a background if you want. Let me do that. Add a background, load background. Oh no, I don't want. Yeah. Do this wood one. That'll work. Okay. Let's go into the room and I'll set the background here. So the wood one here. Oh yeah, that looks alright. Let's play this, see how that works. Yeah, it's working alright. It's a little bit harder to see oh, on the background, but I think it goes alright. Okay. Now, the rest of it is up to you. Now, of course, you can go in and edit your sprites there. So, double click on it to edit it. You can rub bits out and things like that, but I'm not going to do that. That's all stuff that you can do. Now, a lot of people have been editing the sprites. Just make sure that you edit it after you finish the game, okay? So once you finish the game, you can go nuts, do whatever you want to it, but finish the game first, okay? Alright, that's our tutorial done. Now, a couple of things we've done. So we've added the alarms again, still going over the movement and different collision events and things like that. So this is just a bit more practice extending on what we've done the first 2 games. So thanks a lot, guys. Well done, and make sure you submit it to Compass after you're finished. Okay, see ya.